Hello, the internet, and welcome to What I Think I Know with your host, me. My name is Mustache. No, that's weird. My name is Mustache. My name is Mustache. Dan. That's who I am. I'm Dan. I'll be your host of the What I Think I Know show. Just a little what do you call it? Subject show kind of thing. I don't know. We'll hop around, talk about all kinds of different things. Um, I got my notes over here. That's why I'm looking over here. But just a little background on me. I have done my fair share of scrolling, but I have not really been a part of the internet for 8, 10 years, something like that. I've really stayed away from it for the most part. It's a great place to learn a lot of things, which I have certainly done, but it's not something I've really interacted with. Now, the reason I'm on here is because I recently got a diagnosis. Uh, I am 29 years old. Getting a little emotional now. I recently had a doctor tell me um, that it doesn't look good. Um, so I want to come here and share my knowledge, bits of wisdom. Hopefully, I can help you in your life, because mine's pretty close to over. Doctors say I may only have 70 years left. That's just not enough time for me. So I've decided to get started now. Now, the real reason is I just recently became a realtor, and in order to help my real estate business, I started an Instagram. But I'm really kind of a go big or go home kind of guy. So I'm going big, starting a show and everything. So you could find me at, I think it's Dan Brigantino Realtor for my real estate page. But that's not what you're here for. You're here for a little bit of fun, a little fact, a little learning. Who knows what else? So that's a little bit about me. I have just been picking up all sorts of little things. I used to watch, MythBusters, History Channel before they sold to Disney. My favorite was Blue Planet, the original Blue Planet series. I think there were 4 or 5 VHSs that I had. And just little things like that. I was not so much into the entertainment, more into the learning stuff, but school, of course, ruined that for me. I did not graduate high school. I do have a GED. I got some college certificate and whatnot, but the public school system was not for me. So I have collected all sorts of ridiculous, stupid facts, and well, the people in my life are tired of me constantly talking. So instead of burdening them, I am here to burden you with all that stupid knowledge. So you'll have a little bit of fun. Maybe you can bring some things back to your life. Uh, so my kind of intentions with this channel, again, what I think I know, or WITIK for short, WITIK. Um, uh, my intentions here are just to have fun, talk about whatever we want to talk about. It's going to be driven a lot by you. I need you guys in the comments, in my DMs, however you need to get in touch with me. Get in touch with me because I need all your subjects. This show's really about what you guys want to talk about. I have a very broad knowledge. I'm not saying I'm a smart guy by any means, but my knowledge is broad. That's the only way I can think of describing it right now. So if you have a subject, more than likely I know something about it. And from there, we can dig in deeper and we'll get up some answers. So just a little bit of fun there. I would love to have this be probably about 4 days a week would be ideal. I'll be doing the long form on YouTube, of course, and then just kind of in my life, whenever I see something to talk about, I'm gonna post a short probably on YouTube and Instagram, and then maybe TikTok as well. I don't really know anything about that platform. And X, I no idea. Never used it really. I think I made a profile. I know my siblings made a profile for me one time, specifically for this reason. All the wacky stuff I would say went on to that uh, uh, Twitter at the time. This was probably 2012 at best, maybe even earlier than that. Um, but it got taken down, I think, because it was called Dinglehopper Dan, and there's maybe something in there that I don't know, people don't like. Whatever it was, I don't know, but it got shut down after only like a week. Um, but we're back. So for now, I believe it's just going to be Fridays. Maybe just the next 2 weeks, maybe a little bit longer. It kind of depends on you guys. Depends on how many of you reach out with subjects, ideas, things to talk about, complaints about me. I don't know, whatever. Whatever you want it to be, leave it in the comments. Send me a DM. So for now, it's just going to be Fridays, and we'll expand from there. 3 weeks from now, I would love to be doing 2 days a week, maybe a Tuesday, Friday, or a Wednesday, Friday, something like that. Unfortunately for me, I do still work 3 jobs. I am a realtor, first off, a mobile mechanic, kind of the least. And my day job is I am what they call a wine educator. I'm a waiter at a winery, and I know a good amount about wine. That's all it really is. But it takes up a lot of my time. Um, so the beginning of this show is going to be a little bit lighter. They're probably going to be half an hour episodes. I'd like it to be more like 45 minutes to an hour. Um, and depending on how much we have to talk about, longer than that, who knows? Whatever you guys end up liking. I don't know. Kind of catering to you, although not really entirely. This is still my show. I'm going to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. But we'll figure it out. We'll move on. We'll, evolve, as they say. So that's what we're looking at. Someday we're going to be at least 4 days a week, maybe even more than that. But for now, Fridays it is. So you guys will be seeing this tomorrow. It's actually Thursday today. Hopefully I won't have to do any editing. I get pretty loose. I might say some outrageous things that should not be on the internet, and I will edit those out. Maybe someday I'll have my own platform that I could post to, or maybe I'll just post those more outrageous things to X, because I think actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think you can do long form over there. And I remember hearing Kanye had debaucherous material over there, and so if you could do that, I could say outrageous things over there. So maybe that's where we do it. We'll be doing long form. Maybe we'll do a little bit of both. Whatever. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'd also like to add some actual live interaction from you guys. I would love to do it radio style. You're on the line. But I don't know what the internet wants that to be, and not the viewers, but the actual programming and all that. How do I get all that to work together? So that's something I'm looking into. If you guys have advice, if anybody's a tech guy out there, I'd love to hear from you. I do have a good buddy of mine, Seabass, who I will be reaching out to help me with things like intro, outro, transitions, all that sort of stuff, because I'm not an internet guy. I'm also really not a tech guy. I can use the iMovie on my laptop here to edit this. There may be dead space where I forget what I'm talking about. That happens a lot. I will be in the middle of a sentence and completely forget what I'm on about, and I'll have to take a second and okay, that's right, here we go. That'll happen all the time. I'll edit out the nothing in between kind of thing. Other than that, I think it's going to be a super fun show. And without further ado, here is What I Think I Know with your host, Dan. So, today's first segment is our super fun fact. Um, now, our super fun fact today comes from an old manager of mine. It's something that's been bothering me for a long time. Now I'm very professional when I'm at work. I'll do my best to refrain. Now, if you're like my work buddy, I won't hold back. I'll do it in hushed tones, though, when the bosses are around, at least. But anyway, I won't say where I was working at the time. Not going to say anything about who she is or where she's going or coming from or whatever. What I will say is, she is a liberal to my knowledge. She does a lot of things that liberals tend to do. So I don't know really, but that's kind of what I think this comes from. We're talking about button-up shirts. I find a lot of liberals like to, because it's easiest to start at the top and go downward. A lot of those people forget that history exists, forget that things are things for a reason, and they decide to call them button downs. Unfortunately, while that directionally makes sense, you are buttoning, and you are doing that in a downward direction. That's just not where the word comes from. It's very unfortunate that people don't understand their history very well. It's one of the most important things you can do as a human is just research history. You will understand a lot more about the world around you. So anyway, button downs do not exist. Button ups do exist, even though we button them in a downward direction. They do exist and all that because buttoning up is not a directional action. It is I don't even know what to really specifically call it, but the act of buttoning something up is literally defined as to close tightly and secure. Simple as that. It's got no directions in it. Let's stop calling them button downs, please. They are button ups. Golly. Anyway, if you see me in public and mention button downs, I will come at you with everything I have. So there is our super fun fact of the day. Button downs are not, they are actually button ups. And I will preface that a little bit by saying we're going light on this first episode. I don't want to jump in and get banned immediately. So keeping her light. Now, we are, now see, my brain's stuck in between two things. I did want to say something else, but don't worry about it. Moving on. We have our next segment, Dan's Theory of the Day. My theory today, frogs are immortal. Now, I don't know much about frogs. If you're a frog scientist, please let me know. Reach out. I'd like to talk. This theory is, in my mind, bulletproof. Okay, here's how it works. You got a frog, right? You got your little bushel of eggs over there, the little goopy guys. They hatch out, and they've got their little, ribbit sperm floating around. The little I don't even know what they're called. Of course, I know. Tadpoles. There we go. Our tadpoles swimming around. They grow their legs, turn into full-blown frogs, and then the pond dries up, and where do they go? So I grew up with a little pond near my house, and there was a fire about a mile away that broke out from some fireworks. Not me, I promise. It was not me. I won't tell you who it is. I do know the guy, but it wasn't me. Anyway, so the helicopters trying to put out the fire went to our little pond. It was a very small pond to start. And when they got done with it, well, it was really just an indentation in the land. It was no longer a pond. And it dried out after that summer, and never came back. Well, that's not true. He came back about 10, 15 years later, and with the water, immediately came the frogs. It was a very interesting thing. We had absolutely nothing. If you don't know anything about California, nothing, I meant water. If you don't know about California's weather cycle, it's pretty interesting. We have typically like a 10-year drought and then 5 years of rainy years kind of thing. It has changed a little bit because of the cloud seeding, and I believe this year they're no longer cloud seeding. That's why we're having a normal summer here in California. We haven't for quite a while, actually. It's been a little wacky. I think it's been 7 years. I have been intently focused on the weather pretty much all my life. I don't know why, but it's always been an obsession of mine. So I have very much paid attention to the weather in my local area, and I won't stop. Anyway, so in those 10 dry years, which is kind of our typical drought, it's not normally as dry as it was then, but whatever. So in that 10 years of drought, we had 10 years of no frogs, no water, nothing. You couldn't even walk by the woods where you normally would hear all the ribbiting and all that stuff. They weren't there. The frogs were just gone. Maybe they turned gay and, couldn't procreate anymore. Little fun fact, the frogs turning gay was not just Alex Jones being a wacko. That was true. It happened. It's been confirmed. Lots of other things he said has been confirmed. A little nervous, or nerve-wracking, rather. But anyway, the frogs do seem to appear out of nowhere and disappear into nothing. What they're actually doing is crawling into the dirt, going into the cracks and all that, and living out their days there. And that's where I get to my theory. How long can they survive down there? Now, I know there's at least one species of frog that can be frozen entirely solid, and at the come of springtime just thaws out and hops along the bunny trail or ribbit trail, whatever. Anyway, that's my bulletproof theory of the day. Frogs live forever underground. You can't convince me anything otherwise, unless maybe you're half intelligent, and then you could probably convince me differently. But that's where I want my frog scientists. Please reach out, let me know. Are frogs immortal? Until I hear something differently, I will simply assume they are immortal, because that's how foolishness works, and I'm a fool. Anyway, that is our Dan's theory of the day. Hope you enjoyed that. Please, again, if you're a frog scientist, let me know, DM me, comment me, whatever. And we're moving on. So, here is our next segment. This is my piece to politic. Everybody's talking politics right now. We've got some really exciting things going on. The big beautiful bills coming right through. The president just signed finally all the emissions CRAs. We'll see what happens with those. I'm always a dreamer, so I hope California gets rid of smog, but I don't know if those are actually going to do anything to California, or if that's all just, of course, going to be federal, because that is just federal stuff. We'll see. Got my fingers crossed. But today's piece to politic is going to be the same thing you're hearing from everybody. We're going to talk a little bit about the riots. They are not peaceful protests. They are riots. They are insurrections. The definition of insurrection, if I can remember it, I don't have it written down, but it is when an insurrection is an uprising against the authority, a violent uprising against the authority. Protesting, perfectly cool. Protesting's great. Sort of. I don't know if it'll ever actually work Um, there's certain things like the Million Man March, that seem to have worked. But at least the way the liberal Democrats are doing it these days, it really just hurts them more than anything. So I'm kind of inclined to just say, go ahead, have fun, burn the city down. LA is not really a pretty city anyway, so I couldn't care less. Um, but don't hurt people. It just doesn't make sense. You're hurting yourself, like I said. Um, so please don't burn shit down. Please don't throw bricks at the police or the National Guard or the Marines. It just doesn't make any sense. Why would you? I don't know if you know this, but the Marines went through a lot of training, and then they just sit around for sometimes years at a time begging somebody to fuck around so they can make them find out. The Marines are not sitting back going, oh no, I hope they don't hit me with a Molotov cocktail. No, they're going, please do it. Please, please, give me some action. I want some action. Um, so, liberals, you're really just hurting your own cause. People are going to believe in your cause less because who wants to side with a petulant, whining child? Not me. Certainly not me. Um, uh, my kind of last piece to politic today will be about Saturday, June 14th, Flag Day, the Army's birthday, 250th birthday. That's pretty freaking cool right there. And Flag Day, of course, was when all the colonists rose up together, and they were all fighting under their own individual flags at the time. But June 14th is our kind of the anniversary or whatever of the day or time, at least, that everybody kind of banded together. It is not, as the liberals would have you believe, Trump's birthday. Now, in all actuality, it is actually his birthday. I'm kind of spoke out of time there. I'm more speaking specifically to the parade he's going to have, the military parade. That is not for his birthday. It's for the Army's birthday. It's for Flag Day. Now, I know that the liberal people, there's got to be thousands of them in DC right now hoping and praying to be the one who gets to do the Tiananmen Square standoff with the tank. I know that whole city, every liberal in that city is praying to a God they think they don't believe in to be that guy. They want to be that guy so bad. Unfortunately, they won't be able to. In Tiananmen Square, they were fighting communists who were murdering all the fellow students and everything. We don't know who that guy who stood up to that tank was, probably because he was killed very shortly afterward. There is a good chance that he was able to escape kind of into the crowd, but it's entirely unconfirmed to my knowledge. I don't think we've ever found out who that guy was. But that was heroic. That was him standing up to tyranny. This is, here in America, this is not tyranny, which you guys are fighting. It's illegal to enter the country. Simple as that. Do the crime, do the time. It breaks my heart that people have spent 10, 15, 30 years here in America building a life, and then now they just got to go home. It breaks my heart that somebody lied to you and made you believe that you were going to be able to just stay here and live through your life. Whoever told you that is who you should not hate. You should never hate. But that's who you should be angry at. Not Trump, not the US government, not the white Americans, not those people. No, you should be mad at yourself and whoever told you that you could just come here and stay, because they were incorrect, and so were you. It'd make it a lot easier to just go home. I see you're waving the Mexican flags. You must be from Mexico. If you're so proud of it, Why not go back? Why do you got to ruin it for us? Why do you got to ruin our place for us? Just go back. If it's so good over there, the cartel rule and all that stuff, if that's so great, go back over there. I'm sure they'd love to have you. Now, if I disliked America and I tried to just go to any other country, I don't think there's a single other country who wouldn't. Maybe some like island countries who are not real country. I don't know. There might be some really weird tiny places that would allow you to stay, but nobody in the first world is going to allow you to come into their country and just stay. Doesn't happen. Mexico themselves deported 750,000 people last year. It's kind of a lot of people. Mexico's a little bit smaller than America. That's a good portion of people. So let's just keep that in mind. And then the flag flying, you're in somebody else's country flying your own flag. That is, to me, an invasion. I'm Italian. I'm nearly full Italian. I do have some probably Viking, then through Scottish or Scotland, and then over the Appalachians, and out to California eventually. I'm super proud to be Italian. I've got this beautiful picture here. It reminds me of Sorrento. I know it's not Sorrento, but Sorrento is probably my favorite place on the mainland. I am truthfully Sicilian, which is a little bit different. We're much cooler. We have a lot more fun. Our island is so much better than the mainland. It's you wouldn't believe it. But you got to kind of fly into Rome a lot of times. It's cheaper, easier. So you might as well spend a little time on the mainland. Also, probably my favorite salami place or dried meat place is in Rome. If you want to know where it is, send me a DM and I will shoot it over or comment me or whatever. I'll probably end up showing it on a map here someday. Anyway, I'm Italian. I love it. I wanted to start riding motorcycles a few years ago, or 4 or 5 years ago. Looked at all kinds of bikes, fell in love with this Kawasaki at one point, and then my eyes locked on a Ducati. I was gone. So I ride a Ducati. Well, rode a Ducati. I still have it. It's sitting right over there. I don't ride it anymore very often because of how stupid people are on the road. And as a biker, you could do every single thing right, and you're still dead. So I hold off on it for very special occasions. But anyway, after all that said, super proud Italian. Love being Italian. Think they're the greatest culture on the planet, aside from American. But I don't fly an Italian flag. I fly an American flag. I do go to a lot of Italian festivals and stuff like that. I live in a very Italian area, so we have festivals quite a lot, and I love going to them. But I don't fly an Italian flag over a American flag, both literally and figuratively. My American flag would always be taller, or higher rather. And again, I don't have an Italian flag at all. I've thought about painting the Italian flag racing stripes on one of my cars, but I haven't done that. Maybe I will someday. Probably not. But anyway, that's kind of as far as I would go. But that's kind of different. It's a car, it's very different. That car in particular actually does have an American flag on the back of it. So I'd still be flying and actually I take that back, because the stripes, the Italian flag stripes would be above the flag. So maybe I will put an American flag on the roof. Who knows? Anywho, regardless of any of that, the point is you should be proud to be an American if you are living in America. It just doesn't make any sense to me to be here and not be proud of it. And I understand, it's a racist, First off, it's not. You're wrong. Please, again, comment, DM me. bring up anything. It's too broad for me, really, to just start throwing out facts at you guys. But if you have any questions or disagree at all, comment, send me a DM. I'll get you on the air. I'll put you here with me. We'll talk it out. If you're in California, shoot, man, we'll meet up. Let's go get a beer together. Grab a coffee. I don't really drink coffee. I get too anxious. I got too much natural energy anyway. But I'll have a tea or something like that. I don't really drink tea, but I don't know. Some coffee shops sell beer. Let's go to one of those. But yeah, if you've got anything you want to say, bring it on. And that truly ends our Piece to Politic today. I did not expect that to go that long. I did want to kind of get deeper in depth on certain things, but hey, we've got all the time in the world. Remember, doctors say I've got 70 years left, so not a long time, but let's make it a fun time, huh? Now, our Piece to Politic is pretty complete today. I hope you appreciated it. I really hope you agree. And again, if you disagree, I'm totally open to changing my mind on anything. Not so much the frog theory. That one's pretty locked in. But no, I'm super open to changing my mind always. That, I believe, is the definition of being smart. It's not how much you know. It's about how willing you are to change when new facts come to you. So anyway, moving on to our next segment, which is Frank's Rant. Is that right? Frank's Rant? Well, there's nobody here named Frank, so I guess I'll take over this rant. Today, we're talking about cruise control, kind of driving in general, but with a focus on cruise control. I can't remember if I said this at the beginning. I'm sure I said this at the beginning. I'm a realtor, a mobile mechanic, and a wine guy. I do all of that at minimum an hour away from where I live. And I say minimum because that's on a really good day. If there's not a single other car on the road, I'll make it there in about an hour, maybe an hour 5, maybe 55 minutes, somewhere in that 10-minute range. On a normal day, it'll take me an hour 20. So I do a minimum of 2 hours driving every single day. I guess that's not true. Not every single day, but at least like 4 days a week, 5 days a week normally. So I drive a lot. I've also done plenty of cross-country trips. I'm driven to the East Coast several times. I've explored kind of the whole western quarter of America very thoroughly just by driving through it. So a lot of my rants may end up being traffic related. And this time is cruise control. So I should have probably pulled up some statistics on this, but I do know. Oh, this might not be right. I won't even say it. Let's just say the vast majority of cars on the road today are indeed equipped with cruise control. This is probably 95% of the cars driving on the road have cruise control ready and able, perfectly ready to go. Now, most of you probably aren't even going to know this, but the controls for it are going to be on your steering wheel or on the turn signal wiper stalks. One of the two of those, or one of the three of those rather, is where it's going to be located. And it's such a useful device, especially if you're a little bit lazy. Instead of driving down the road, constantly doing this, checking your speed, all that sort of stuff, all you gotta do is find the speed you like and then press a little button. And you can take your feet entirely off the pedals. You still have to steer, but you can take your feet off the pedals and it will maintain that speed. Up hills, some older cars will not maintain the speed downhill. They will just let you free ride. You'll end up speeding. That could be a little bit hairy. I think my dad got a ticket for that one time. Um, but for the most part, cars on the road today will speed themselves up and slow themselves down. There is something I'm not such a big fan of, and it's laser guided technology, and you can lock onto the car in front. Um, it'll keep you at the same distance. So if they speed up, you'll speed up with them. If they slow down, you'll slow down with them. I do like that to a point where that's like super cool lazy, especially if you're sitting in stop and go traffic. That's really awesome. Although, back to my dad, he's got a new Subaru and has it, and it was pretty jerky. It would slam on the brakes quite often, which was not super comfortable, but whatever, it's still saving you a lot of effort. Now, I will say, if you lock onto a foolish driver, now you're just mimicking a foolish driver causing more problems. And traffic prevention is the name of the game. If you can make your drive without having or without making somebody else hit the brakes, that is pretty much the goal of being on a public road. Because remember, you're in public, there are people around you, they're not just other 4 to 10,000 pound steel containers. They are people. They are human people. It's one of the most important things we do on a regular basis. One of the easiest places to die, yourself or others. Um, just focus while you're driving. That's really all it is. And to help you kind of focus, cruise control. I am so sick and tired of pulling up behind somebody, getting into the passing lane, because remember, the right lane is for cruising, the left lane is for passing, not the fast lane, but passing. You get over, you pass, you get back. Anyway, and I'm sure this happens to lots of people all the time. I'm sure everybody here has seen this happen. And you probably don't even know that you do it to other people. I catch myself doing it all the time because it's so hard to focus on your speed. You want to focus on the road ahead of you, and you don't want to be looking up and down all the time. So I do have a car without cruise control. My bike doesn't have cruise control. There's some pain in the ass stuff. But I've got a 79 Thunderbird that does have cruise control. So don't tell me it's because you got an old car. My one of my cars without cruise control is a Miata, and it's bare bones, as bare as it gets. It doesn't even have carpet. It's not really a racing car, but it does have some nitrous in the trunk. Anyway, it's my brag for the day out of the way, being a little braggadocious, which is a future episode. I love wordplay. Braggadocious is another thing we'll talk about later. You probably already see where I'm going with it. But anyway, we back to our cruise control topic. We're talking about that whole, you go up to pass somebody, you get in that left lane, and then you're on cruise control, so you should be passing them, but now they keep up with you, and now they're passing you all of a sudden. Just put your cruise control on, man. Then we wouldn't worry about any of that. So then you got to get back in the right lane, and now you have the people coming up from behind you, passing you, and now this guy decides to slow down again. Now you're on your brakes. It's very environmentally unfriendly. When you hit your brakes, what you are doing is turning potential / kinetic energy into heat. I don't think it's potential energy. I think it's just kinetic energy. But anyway, you're turning it just into heat. The brake pads squeeze the rotor, or drums, the shoes push out on the drum, and they create friction, creating heat, and that is where all your energy goes, out in the heat. Contrary to what California will be making you believe in the future, brake dust is really not dangerous. It's just microscopic metal fragments, whatever. We've been living with it for several hundred years. It's really not a danger. What was dangerous was they used to use asbestos in brakes. That was super dangerous, obviously. Mostly just for the brake repairman, though. not for the users. It was really once you took the brakes apart that there was an issue. So anyway, in the future, when you hear California starting to regulate your brake pads, definitely fight back. I'm sure I'll talk about that more on a future episode as well. Um, but long story short, guys, just use your cruise control. Save everybody the hassle of hating you and use your cruise control. When you drive, don't make other people brake. It's pointless, it's annoying, and we'd like to run you off the road. You know, I used to say growing up, like high school kind of thing, I used to say, if I was ever president, I would make it a rule where you had to drive around with glass bottles, like from the movies, easy breakable, made of candy or whatever. Glass bottles that when somebody does something stupid, we just start hucking them. I always thought it would be great. When there's a lot of traffic in town and somebody tries to get through the intersection, but the light turns red and they're backed up, so they're in the middle of the intersection, in line with all the other people who are in traffic there, and now us going the other way, we can't go. That's the perfect time. Glass bottles like crazy. Of course, that would never work. Really shouldn't ever work, but it's fun to think about. And that is kind of everything for Rant Lane, or Frank's Rant. That's why I called it Frank's Rant, because I'm just being frank about it. All right. Well, that's interesting.
You've said your piece.
Um,
Now say goodbye. No, down here. Down here. Not that low. Not that high. That's right. Now shut up.
all right. Well, I guess my mustache does control me. Anywho, that's pretty much all I got for you guys today. I had a lot of fun. Kind of missed a lot of points I wanted to make. Thought about a lot of new points to make. But the real point is like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, comment, DM me, get in touch. I want to hear the things you guys want to hear about. Like I said, this is my show. I'm curating it. But I would love to hear from you guys. I'm sure you are plenty interesting. And I want topics from you guys, things I can talk about to you. And again, hopefully get you guys on the show someday. Like I said, I'm not a tech guy. I'm not an internet guy. But maybe someday I will be. Again, I do have a friend who is a tech guy. I'll probably be reaching out to him. But if you're a tech guy, reach out to me as well. Anywho, yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget your Second Amendment right this weekend. Be careful, and God bless you. We'll see you on, what did I say? Yeah, I'll see you on Friday, and the next week after, hopefully Wednesday as well. I'll talk to you more about that on Friday, next Friday. But anyway, we'll see you later. God bless you.